Hello, welcome back to another episode of John the PM, where we believe that managing projects is not just a job, but a way of life. Today, I'd like to talk a little bit about certification. Here's the key. The PMP certification is not the goal. Capability, delivery on the job, that is the goal. That is what we're actually after. Now, I do certification training in full disclosure. It is the way that we actually measure ourselves. It's the way that the market measures ourselves. How many people have you passed in the last 24 months? Organizations usually ask that. Individuals, what's your pass rate? You know what? That's great. I completely understand. Passing the test, awesome, got it, understood. What I am more concerned about is what is your ability to actually perform on task, on the job, and to get to a highly successful closure at the end of your project. That is what I'm actually a little bit more concerned about. Now, the certification does matter, okay? And what I mean by it does matter is that, especially for like careers and things of that nature, it allows you to take your skill set from one organization to the next. Some people will say, well, John, I already have that skill set. Yeah, but it's not verified, validated, okay, by a third party. And that's what that certification actually helps to demonstrate, on those pieces. But again, that's not the end goal. The end goal is actually how well do you deliver on a project. One of the beautiful things about the certification process is that it gives a standardized format so that you can communicate from one PMP to another PMP, either inside your organization or externally. You just have a better idea of what when they say stakeholder or risk or whatever the issues may be, whatever the verbiage is, that we actually understand what each party is actually talking about on those areas. But just because you're certified, congratulations, it is a huge accomplishment, doesn't necessarily mean or equate to readiness. It is still incumbent upon you as the professional, as the PMP, you are the professional project manager, to maintain your skill sets, to utilize those skill sets. Now, sometimes what I run into is that people will say, after they took the exam, oh, I never used any of those tools. Well, shame on you, on that part. Well, first off, you shouldn't use every tool on every project. That's usually the first issue. But your real point is that you should know each and every tool and know what all of your options are so that you can make great delivery on your project. That is what the goal ought to be. One of the other hidden benefits of actually certification is that it compounds across the organization. Now, in my courses, what I usually try to, inspire upon the participant, on the student, is that when they get back to their organizations, they ought to be the trainers. They ought to be the guidon bearers. They should be the ones that are kind of setting the pace within the organization when it comes to actually project delivery on that side. Encourage their counterparts, hey, go through the course. If for nothing else, it'll make their life easier. Why? Because now they're actually talking the same language. Everybody kind of understands. And people actually know what they're actually talking about when they say tailor the processes back to your specific culture, back to your specific project, back to your specific workplace, all those areas that are kind of tied in on those pieces. Okay, so PMP is not the goal. However, work performance, work delivery, that is the goal. PMP is extremely valuable because it verifies, validates your experience set. It's valuable because it gives you a standardized format in order to operate within your organization. And then thirdly, the ripple effect does occur. And sometimes we'll also call that the compound effect. What is key is that you actually know and understand the different processes and know how to use them. So this concludes my thoughts on this subject. If you liked it, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Myself, my team, my staff, we'd all greatly appreciate it. Why? Because it helps us to be a service back to you. Thank you, and hopefully all of your projects will be successful.